Prenatal period. Conception to birth. It involves tremendous growth from a single cell to an organism complete with brain and behavioral capabilities. It has 3 stages: the germinal, embryonic, and fetal stage. Where germinal stage, it begins with the union of sperm and egg cell in one of the 2 fallopian tubes during conception. The single-celled zygote begins its trip down the fallopian tube to the uterus just a few hours after fertilization. Embryonic stage. At this point, the mass of cells is known as an embryo. The beginning of the 3rd week after conception marks the start of embryonic period, a time when a mass of cells becomes distinct as a human. The embryonic stage plays an important role in the development of brain. Fetal stage. Once cell differentiation is mostly complete, the embryo enters the next stage and becomes known as a fetus. The fetal period of prenatal development marks more important changes in the brain. This period of development begins during the 9th week and lasts until birth. This stage is marked by amazing change and growth. The development is called gestation.
Infancy, birth to 2 years old. In humans, infancy refers to the time period between birth and the development of language, which usually occurs 1 to 2 years later. In infancy stage, the child is expected to show motor skills. The gross motor skills is when the child uses of large muscles, and the fine motor skills is when the child uses a small muscle. During the first year of the baby, they are also called lap baby because they are often carried by their guardian in their lap. During the 2nd year of life, they are usually known as toddler. The child is also expected to have language development in this stage. It can be one of the single word utterances characteristic of the children in the early stages of language acquisition. The most common example is when the baby says dada or mama. It is also known as holopraise. On the other hand, telegraphic speech is when the child can speak 2 to 3 words. For example, I hungry and me carry. Lastly, in this stage, the temperament of the child will also appear. With that, the guardian can easily say what are the behavior that they may see when the baby grows.
Early childhood, age 3 to 5 years. In this stage, young children learn to become more self-sufficient in how to take care for themselves. They develop school readiness skills and spend many hours on playing. In this stage, the child also expected to show gross motor development.
Running, hopping, and walking are the common example of locomotor skills that shows going from one place to another. Bending, stretching, and turning are the most common example of non-locomotor skills that show staying in a place. Throwing, bouncing, and catching are the most common example of manipulative skills that shows projecting and receiving objects.
The child will step to the stage of drawing and stage of play that will guide them to step to another stage of development.
Middle and late childhood, ages 6 to 12 years old. The fundamental skills of 3 R's are mastered. The child is formally exposed to the larger world and its culture. Achievement becomes a more central theme of the child's worth and self-control increases. The skills of late childhood can be categorized roughly into 4 major groups: self-help skills, social help skills, school skills, and play skills. They are expected to be troublesome and sloppy at their age.
Adolescents, ages 13 to 18 years old. Begins with rapid physical changes dramatic gains in height and weight, changes in the body contour, and development of sexual characteristics such as enlargement of the breast, development of pubic and facial hair, deepening of the voice. These are some effects of onset of sexual maturity, or also known as a puberty.
Pursuit of independence and identity are prominent. The thought is more logical, abstract, and idealistic. More time is spent outside of the family.
Early adulthood, ages 19 to 29 years old. It is a time of establishing personal and economic independence, career development, selecting a mate, learning to live with someone an intimate way, starting a family and rearing children. In this stage, it is a settling down and reproductive age happened, a problem age and one of the emotional tension, a time of social isolation, a time of commitments, and then dependency, of value changes, of creativity, and the adjustment to a new life pattern.
Middle adulthood, ages 30 to 60 years, a time of expanding personal and social involvement and responsibility, assisting the next generation in becoming competent and mature individuals, reaching and maintaining satisfaction in a career.
Late adulthood, ages 61 and above, it is time for adjustment to decreasing strength and health, life review, retirement, and adjustment to new social roles.